The series shifts to Edmonton. We get you set for game number 3 between the Oilers and the Canucks right here on the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. What's up, everybody? Hope you're having a lovely Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there, and lovely day out there. The smoke is kind of cleared up, which is great. We're live on location, Hudson's White Avenue, for another pre and post game show. Come on down, nice and quiet here. Game's on. Boston leading Florida 2-0, and of course it'll probably get a little bit busier around here as we roll through the evening. As always, text us 780-218-9999, and if you're watching on YouTube, you can get into the nasty chat. Dave getting in there right off the hop says, it's my birthday today. Hope the Oilers can get the W to cap off the perfect day. Dave, happy birthday, man. And it should be a good game tonight. Obviously, these two teams super tight, close games, and maybe they get the job done for you, Dave. So happy birthday, pal. Hope you're having a good one. Of course, GCL Diesel, Edmonton's diesel fuel system specialists and providers of critical engine components for over 50 years. Matty Kassian will be stopping by for Game Changers at about 6:35. Irf Gafar checks in from Vancouver in about 10 minutes' time. And we'll get you set for tonight's action. Let's check in with you too, Trev. How you doing today, pal? You doing all right? Back at HQ?
Yeah. How are we doing today, Tommy?
Yeah, there he is.
Yeah, I'm pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. We had a pretty fun day yesterday. It was awesome. We had our Birdie Booze launch, and it was quite successful. I will say it was really, really good. Was able to meet lots of nasties, lots of supporters, followers. It was really cool. So I had a grand old time, and I hope I didn't embarrass myself. I think I was on my best behavior, but it was sweet. The mini golf. I was able to go to the.
The simulator?
The simulator. Thank you so much. Yeah, that was a lot of fun as well. There was cornhole. Obviously, the food was amazing. So yeah, it was a solid turnout. So huge shout out and huge thanks to everyone that was a part of it. It went really, really good. It was a beautiful day as well. So a lot of fun, Tommy. And I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling pretty good today. I'm feeling a lot.
Are you? I could feel better. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not feeling great.
I'm feeling better now. That's for sure.
Super great time yesterday at Birch and Bear. Big thank you to Josh and the entire crew over there. Of course, Schmitty, Andrea, and the entire crew at Strathcona Spirits. Fantastic. Jared from Modern Measure. I'm wearing the new suit that Jared and Richie hooked up, and fits amazingly. Jared came and hung out too. Go see him at Modern Measure, a proud sponsor of Hello Hockey, and so good to be partnered up with them. Good dudes. So many good people there yesterday. Hey, Trev? Just a lot of fun. Great people all around.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. I usually shy away from, I'm a little bit of an introvert, not gonna lie, but I had so much fun, and everyone was just so curious about how I got introduced into EST and whatnot, where I'm from, and just getting to know everyone. It was awesome. I thoroughly enjoyed every conversation I had. It was a grand old time, Tommy.
Yeah, it was a blast. Check out Birdie Booze. It's available. Sobeys, Safeway liquor stores, $17.99. Of course, 6 o'clock or lager. A lot of those were going down yesterday. Too good. $12.99 all playoffs long up until June 30th at Sobeys and Safeway liquor stores. Hopefully you're crushing one or two of those. Hopefully everybody's feeling good as we get set for game number 3 of this Oilers Canucks series. I'm going to ask Trev the question of the night, and to all of our audience out there. How will the Oilers do at home in games 3 and 4? What say you, Trev? What do you think?
Oh, well, I'm terrible with predictions. Every time we had a question,
how are they going to do?
Yeah, I think they're going to come out strong. I really do think they're going to come out strong. You're going to be getting their best effort. I really hope to see, Stuart Skinner. I really think he's going to have a bounce back performance. It's going to be nice having, the crowd cheer him on as opposed to, cheering against him. When we had Belzy on the Hangout, it was about 2 weeks ago now, and he said, it definitely it plays a toll on you. It really does. When you hear 20,000 people calling your name, you're human, right? Obviously, that's going to get to you. So it's going to be a little bit different now. Obviously, Shelovs is going to be getting that. For sure. But so yeah, I'm expecting a big game. But just I think as a whole, the fans, like that's what's really going to keep these Oilers. It's extra motivation, right? It's like fuel to the fire. The players they breathe off of. They love that everything about it, man. So I'm expecting a really good game tonight. It's going to be a close game. It's not going to be a blowout. I don't think we're going to see any blowout games between these two.
Yeah.
It's going to be very tight defensively, but in saying that, I do like the Oilers' chances, and going forward, they know, right? Like that was always the question. This team has had their number all season long, but now the Oilers know that they can beat these guys, and I think that's gonna be on their minds the whole 60 minutes tonight, Tommy.
I like it. There you go. You didn't have to make a prediction. Just how you think that the Oilers are going to do in these games on home ice. Games 3 and 4, of course, tonight, and then Tuesday night for game numero cuatro. That is the question of the night. Hit us up in the inbox, 780-218-9999. You can text us, and then if you're watching on YouTube right now, just get in the nasty chat. How will the Oilers do at home in games 3 and 4? I'm expecting them to obviously play well. I think they're going to feed off of that energy, like you said. I do expect the crowd here to be really into it, kind of counterpunch, let's call it, the Vancouver faithful that were at Rogers Arena for games 1 and 2. Everyone that was at the rink was saying how good it was inside Rogers Arena. Well, I think people here are going to see that, and they're going to respond. I feel like the vibe is going to be elevated. I think it's going to be a really dialed in crowd, and I think that it's going to be a loud crowd for both games. So that could certainly help the Oilers, and I fully expect, because it's fun to watch these two fan bases go at it too. I mean, the silly stuff, the music videos, all of that just adds to it. Whatever, it's part of the fun. People are passionate, but I do expect to see a good response from the Oil Country faithful tonight at Rogers Place. So it's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to get down there after we wrap up the pregame show, and I think Edmonton's going to do well in these two games. I like their chances in these games, but like you said, Trev, I mean, you made a good point. I don't think we should be surprised by this, but these are going to be tight games, and they're anybody's ball game, hockey game, whatever, to use that term. So let us know your thoughts, 780-218-9999. We got people texting in already. Dave, happy birthday, pal. Hope it's a good one. Like I mentioned, Brandon from Windsor says, I feel a big win incoming. Hashtag Vixen on water. Yeah, I got a nice tea going. I need it. Spruce Grove Corey says, love the contrast here. Tommy, nice and bright. Green trees behind him. Beautiful evening. Trev in the dank studio. And he says it's boiling in there, too. Is it hot in there, Trev?
When I last looked, it was 25 in here. So it's pretty hot. Yeah, it's ridiculous right now. But I did just turn it down right before the show started.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
good. It's very
ridiculous.
Comfortable here at Hudson's White. Like it's pleasant, and yeah, it's good to see that leaves are growing and the grass is starting to get green. It was good that we had that rain. Obviously, we need some of that rain in northeastern BC, as well as around where Grand Prairie, Fort Mac. Hopefully, everyone's all right up there. That's scary, man. And we know things can get a little dicey, especially at Fort Mac. Do you remember a few years ago, the forest fires up there getting close to town, people basically driving through an inferno on the highway? It was super scary. So hopefully everybody's safe up there. Hopefully everybody's property and everything's good. And then maybe we get some rain, much needed for sure, up and around where those fires are. That's scary stuff. All right, let's get into your starting lineups for tonight. Yeah, I saw some people texting in saying, what's going on with the lineups? I can tell you what we do know is that McDavid is centering, or expected to center, Draisaitl and Hyman, Nugent-Hopkins with Fogle and Kane, McLeod between Holloway and Perry, and then Derek Ryan with Janmark and Brown. And you're going, where's Adam Henrique? Well, he's out for tonight. Same issue, lower body. We think it's an ankle issue. He did play the other night, but he is not good to go for this one. Defense stays the same. Ekholm with Bouchard, Nurse with CC, Kulak with Desharnais. As for the Vancouver Canucks, a couple of little things that a little bit different for them. JT Miller with Pius Suter and Brock Besser. Elias Pettersson with Linus Karlsson and Ilya Mikheyev. And then you've got Elias Lindholm with Dakota Joshua and Connor Garland. And then on the fourth line, Teddy Bluger with Niels Amon and Sam Lafferty. On defense for Vancouver, Quinn Hughes with Philip Hronik, Carson Soucy paired up with Tyler Myers, and then you got Nikita Zadorov with Ian Cole. Of course, no Thatcher Demko. He's still out. In goal tonight for the Oilers, no surprise, 25-year-old Stu Skinner, 5-2 record this postseason, 296 goals against average, 888 save percentage, one shutout in those 7 games he's played in the Stanley Cup playoffs this year. Lifetime Skinner, a 10-8 record, 339 goals against average, 885 save percentage, one shutout in 19 playoff games over the course of his young career. And then at the other end of the rink, you're talking about a young career. This guy, Arturs Shilov's getting the nod again. He is 3-2 this postseason, 258 GAA, 899 save percentage, one shutout in 5 playoff games. And lifetime versus the Oil, Shilov's has only played Edmonton in this series, never played them in the regular season. 1-1 record, 383 GAA, 887 save percentage in those 2 games. All right. Keep those texts coming in. 780-218-9999. What's going on? Zedbo says water and an aspirin. Oh, yeah, I had one of those. Sean says you need a 6 o'clocker. No. You're funner when you have a 6 o'clocker. Yeah. Cole, guess Vancouver wants to lose again. Yes, Cole, tough go on the back end for the Canucks. Just double checking to make sure that I had my lineup set up properly. Yeah, that was a tough game. Ian Cole has kind of had a tough series, to be honest with you. So, double checking that right now. Let me know your thoughts. 780-218-9999. Trev, what do you think of the lineup changes? Yeah, Cole's looking like he's good to go again tonight.
For the Oilers lineup changes?
Yeah, no Henrique.
Honestly, I'm not too opposed to it. Henrique wasn't really a factor in the game that he was in. I think he's still pretty banged up. Obviously, that's why he's out tonight. So Connor Brown in. I don't mind that. It's a new look. You know, I wouldn't mind seeing Carrick in eventually. Just a little bit more physicality. I'm surprised Derek Ryan's in. We kind of talked about that on Hello Hockey, which was yesterday. Feel free. David Pagnotta, he was bringing the fire in that, but there was no dissonant player. What's the word? Why am I drawing a blank?
What are you looking for? What word are you looking for?
There is no. He didn't get any. He didn't get suspended or anything like that. He didn't get any fines.
Discipline.
Yes. Thank you so much for that. Oh, gosh.
Use your words, Trev.
Jeez,
Use your words.
It's been a long day here, Tommy. Holy crap!
I know.
Anyway, so got a little brain fog here today, but yeah. So there's nothing going on with Derek Ryan. So yeah, I mean Connor Brown's in. I don't mind it. Henrique only really had the 1 goal in game 1 there, and so I don't mind it. He hasn't really been that much of a factor, and he could use a little bit of rest.
Absolutely. All right, YouTube Trev, mix in the water, pal. Maybe you need a 6 o'clocker to recover from yesterday.
I think I do, man.
You might. There's a whole beer fridge stocked, loaded, and ready to go with your name on it. So get at it. Maple Jed says the crowd tonight is going to be a perfect remedy for a hangover, and then also as #free Gagne. Yes, thank you, Maple Jed. All right. Before we get to Irf Gafar, he's ready to go. I will mention portions of this hour brought to you by 100.3 Edmonton's best rock, The Bear. Catch Dusty Nielsen with Yukon Jack and Scott McCord weekday mornings. Then tune it to Jess Jackson on your way home from work every afternoon. Let's get him on here. Canucks reporter Irf Gafar from Vancouver. Use your words. We had a great time yesterday, Irf. It was the launch of our new endeavor, Birdie Booze, with a local distillery here, Strathcona Spirits. So we had the party, and our beer, 6 o'clocker lager with Alley Cat, was flowing. The Birdie Booze was flowing. We had a nice little Saturday, and everybody's moving a little bit slower today, Irf. So please have some patience with us. I'm kidding. How you doing, pal?
Well, I mean, you guys must be happy that puck drop is a whole half an hour earlier. It makes a big difference there.
Huge difference.
Does it not?
Yeah, monster difference. Actually, you know what? I think it's a mental thing. And the fans here have been so annoyed by the 8 o'clock, 8:30 starts. There was one game, Irf, that I don't think the puck dropped to like 8:50 local time.
I remember that. It was
ridiculous. Yeah. So we'll take the half hour happily, and it's a really nice day. So we'll enjoy it, pal. You know how it is. You want to make the most of it, right?
You look good, brother. Look at you with the suit on. I like the big lapels, you know.
You like that?
I like the window pane with the stripes and the solid tie. Oh, Tommy, bringing the heat today for
Oh,
Game 3.
I'm trying. Thanks, man. That makes me feel good. Look at that. I've got like a 48% confidence boost from that statement. Thank you, Irv. Appreciate that. All right, I'm going to head down to the rink at the end of the pregame show, so I'll be there. I got to look good. You know how it is. Irv. Let's talk about Game 3 and what we saw in Game 2 leading into this one. What'd you make of that one where it really could have gone either way? Both teams playing tight, both teams with some chances. Edmonton staying in the fight, obviously getting its only lead when it scored the winning goal in OT. But what did you make of that Game 2 from a Canucks standpoint, Irv?
Well, from a Canucks standpoint, you look at it and say you were one shot away from winning that hockey game and being up 2-0 in the series. So I think you can take some solace in that. You're not going to like being outshot 15-2 in the third period. You're going to hate that. Your goalie was probably the only reason you were in that game in the third period. You probably like that Elias Pettersson scored a goal. He's got that confidence now in it, or in himself, hopefully, and that can, head into game 3 here. But honestly, Tommy, beyond that, the Canucks had the lead. Edmonton came back into that game, and 29-97. I've said this before with you on your show. They're going to get theirs. And Connor McDavid absolutely got his and more in Game 3. So you can bet that the chess match kind of went to Chris Knobloch in that game when you looked at it. The coaching. It was the decisions. I am shocked at Rick Tocchet not going with Elias Lindholm against that line. You alienate JT Miller's line from an offensive standpoint,
right?
And you're not putting a guy that you brought in here for that defensive reason to go up against the team's top best player. So from that standpoint, I'm shocked that Rick Tocchet didn't go and do that. I didn't like how the Canucks didn't match up and go against CC and Nurse. They didn't even try and go at them at all. And I also didn't like Ian Cole, but that's no surprise either. And I think that, it's interesting that they're not bringing Noel Juleson in. I think Rick Tocchet's got to give him one more game just because he's won a championship and, he knows he can be better. But the other two changes up front that could possibly happen are the ones that I'm kind of interested in.
Yeah, speaking of those, I'll say this too. Oilers fans don't mind Ian Cole being in there. They like the puck on his stick, certainly, especially in overtime, Irv.
It was harder for him to put the puck out. I don't even, you know what I'm trying to get at? It was harder for him to miss than it was for him to score, and it was in his own net.
Yeah, he buried that bad boy, but it's all that matters is the Oilers get that win. So that's all that Oiler fans care about. Okay, you talk about the potential lineup changes. That is, what is it? Linus Karlsson and then Nils Åman potentially being in. What do those guys bring to the table? How will they be able to fill in? What can you actually realistically expect from those two? What can you tell us about Karlsson as well? Because I saw his name. I was like, I don't think I remember hearing much about this guy.
Well, that's exactly because you don't. I mean, when he played in the NHL this season, he didn't really have much of a jump or much action to his game. I mean, no disrespect to this guy. He's probably getting thrown into an NHL playoff game now. So clearly the coaching staff and the staff from Abbotsford think something is there for them to put him into the lineup. That's an interesting one to play with. Elias Pettersson and Ilya Mikheyev, though, for a guy that didn't bring that much offense in the regular season when he did play, it's a tough look. I mean, I get the Höglander scratch. He's had the Louis Eriksson line. He's a ghost of Louis Eriksson. He just doesn't do anything in games. The guy's a 24-goal scorer, right? All at even strength. So if he's not producing in the playoffs, you got to do that. The interesting one for me is the Canucks is putting in Nils Åman for Phil DiGiuseppe, if that is the change. Because if it is, DiGiuseppe is a penalty killer, and he's a good one. So is Åman going to take a spot there? But again, he's another guy that couldn't get into the lineup late in the season either. Kind of been in and out all year long. So it's two changes. You're 1-1 in this series. I thought that Podkolzin might get a chance, but they're deciding to go a different way. Now, look, gamesmanship does definitely happen in the NHL playoffs when you see morning skates and things like that. So
good point.
I guess we're just going to have to wait until warm up and see what really happens.
Well said, Irf Gafar joining us now, Canucks reporter all the way from Van, as we get you set for game number 3. And come on down to White Ave, Hudson's. I'll be here for the pre and post game. I'll be going to the rink, obviously, for the game, whipping back downtown. Irf, the Canucks on the road this postseason, pretty good numbers, and they had a lot of success against the Nashville Predators. What is it about their game that changes on the road? They've been good in the playoffs. Let's not kid ourselves. This is a good Canucks team, but like on the road, what do you see from Rick Tocchet's group?
I think their attention to detail, team defense, all the things that made them successful in the regular season are things that they're translating into the playoffs on the road, right? They, for lack of better words, they dumb it down when they have the lead. And the thing is, they did that against the Edmonton Oilers, but the Edmonton Oilers had two secret weapons. That was 97 and 29. And they were able to go out and obviously get by through the Canucks, whatever they were trying to do, and take over that hockey game, right? So I think from that standpoint, they've been a good road team. They're getting good goaltending on the road, whether it was Thatcher Demko, whether it was Casey DeSmith, whether it's now Archer Shilovs. The goaltending's been good. And I think that it's staying disciplined, right? Like, if you get into penalty trouble and you're the Vancouver Canucks early in this hockey game, it could be over early. Like that Edmonton crowd. I mean, obviously, Tommy, you cover a lot of hockey there. I've spent a fair amount of time in that building, including covering the Western Conference Final. I mean,
right.
They're gonna be ready for tonight. Like, they are going to be ready. It's Game 3. Your team is supposed to make the Stanley Cup Final on paper. There's a lot of expectation. You're 1-1 in the series. You have all the momentum in the world, and your two best players combined for 8 points in the last game.
Well said, Irf. In terms of handling the crowd, what is it, as simple as a quick start for the Canucks, trying to get that first goal? You think that's the game plan there?
Take the crowd out of it.
Yeah.
Don't let Edmonton score. Weather the storm that is going to be the first 10 minutes in the game. But like, Tommy, I mean, even from the Edmonton Oilers standpoint, like, you're 1-1 in this series. You have some sort of momentum coming back. I think momentum varies in games in the game as opposed to Game 2 versus Game 3. Like, the momentum can change between the first period and the second period, in my opinion, instead of changing between games. But you're back at home for the Oilers. Like, I know there's a lineup change there as well. Obviously, people are up in arms with no supplementary discipline for Derek Ryan and his nut job shot to Niels Höglander, but it's the playoffs, baby.
Yeah,
there was none for Sam Bennett either, and you see that replay of that one. So interesting stuff. But like, I mean, I'll even ask you, like, from the Oilers, I guess it's bring every advantage that you have here on home ice tonight.
Exactly. Use the last change. That's something I think that we're going to see from Chris Knoblauch, obviously. Defensively, I think Edmonton needs to tighten it up a bit. They were better the other night, but not particularly great. You talk about Nurse and Cece, and Matt Kassian was talking about this. He said defend from the inside out, and those guys have kind of been a little bit passive, Nurse and Cece, it feels like, in the 2 games this series. So be curious to see how they handle things. But Bouchard and Ekholm have been fantastic. I think Darnay and Kulak have been all right. So that's going to be interesting. And you know what, too, Irf, is harnessing the crowd energy and all of that, utilizing it. We'll see if the Oilers can do that. So, hey, it's going to be a tight battle. These are 2 good teams. The one thing I wanted to throw at you was Shilovs. They're going back to him again tonight. Not that he's played bad or anything like that. Are you noticing any cracks in his game? Are you seeing anything you don't like? Or do you think he's been steady on the rudder? Or do you think we might see DeSmith if things go sideways here in a hurry?
I think if things go sideways in a game, maybe. Like, if they're down early in the hockey game and it's out of hand and you got to, Rick Tocchet's got to take him out of the net, he might. But beyond that, I think this team, it's Shilov's crease, right? Until it isn't. I don't think I've seen too many cracks in his game, to be completely honest. Maybe a couple of rebounds here and there that he'll want to sharpen up a little bit. But to be completely honest, he's a confident kid. He's 23 years old. Everyone knows the story about him and things of that nature. But he doesn't make as many saves in that third period against the Edmonton Oilers. That game's not going to overtime. So
good point.
I don't put that loss on the goalie at all. Nor do I put, the loss in Game 1 on Stuart Skinner really at all. I mean, it was bad all around for both teams in Game 1. So we'll just see what happens here in Game 3.
How did Canucks fans react to that loss the other night? What was the vibe like? I know there's probably a ton of disappointment. Oilers fans were through the roof, obviously overjoyed. But what was the vibe from the Canucks faithful?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, Ian Cole took a brunt of the blame, obviously, rightfully so. He hasn't had a good series, as you mentioned. But beyond that, it was the lack of kind of depth scoring, right? It's another one of those things that's kind of been an issue for the Vancouver Canucks. It's getting guys other than your top players other than the Brock Bessers, the JT Millers, and, I guess Elias Pettersson you can kind of put in there, even though he's been pretty quiet. But
yeah.
Quinn Hughes has also been pretty quiet this series, Tommy. He's a guy that, in my opinion, is going to win the Norris Trophy. I'm sure you might agree with me there. But, you look at it and say that Edmonton's done a pretty nice job of kind of limiting what he does well. He's getting secondary assists, so he is putting up points, but he's not doing Quinn Hughes type things, right? And I think that's one of the things that the Oilers are doing well. They're taking a page out of the Predators' book and trying to lay the body on him early and often. But from a Vancouver fan perspective, I think that, you just got beat by Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, and you're going to really have to figure out, if you're Rick Tocchet, how you're going to counter that tonight.
Yeah, I mean, they both played about a half an hour in that game. So, that was a ton of ice time.
Yeah, I mean, Hughes did too. Like, Hughes was up to about 25 and a half minutes, I think. So,
yeah. Those guys are going to be counted on, Earth, that's for sure. Okay, what kind of game are we going to see tonight? Another tight checking one? Are we going to see some goals? What do you think?
I hope we see goals. I mean, I'm all for it with the amount of star power on these teams. I'd love to see some goals. I think it's going to be tight checking early. I think the Canucks are going to try and, get a feel and take the building out of it. If they get their chances, they'll go and take them. But if you're the Oilers and you're Knoblauch, we're 1-1. This is our building. They've beaten us every single game this season in our building. We just beat them for the first time this season, last game, so we can beat them. We know we can beat them. Get 29 going, you get 97 going, you get 18 going, right? You get a power play early, and you try and silence the Vancouver Canucks bench. I think that's the game plan from the Oilers. From the Canucks perspective, you got to weather that storm because it's going to come, and it's really going to and it's going to be aggressive right from the start.
Yep. Agree wholeheartedly. Earth, the Canucks have never won a playoff game in Edmonton, albeit this is just the third series that these two teams have faced each other in the postseason. They're looking to change that, so we're in for a good one. Earth, fantastic. As always, my friend. You want to do this again for Game 4? I'll ask you right now.
Absolutely.
All right.
You're asking me, right, putting me on the spot. Sure, why not? Well, you know what? I'll look at your suit again for just before Game 4. So we'll do a fit check before that. How about that?
Oh, okay. It's custom. It's a good suit.
It's great. It's a great suit.
Thank you. The guys that did it, Modern Measure, I'll take you there next time you're in town. You'll love it.
You were about to say next round.
Next time you're in town. There. Yes. You complete my sentences, Irf. Good stuff, pal. I'll catch up with you next game.
All right, my friend. We'll chat soon.
There's Irf Gafar, Canucks reporter, giving us the scoop on the Vancouver Canucks as we get you set for game number 3. Let's see what we got in the inbox. 780-218-9999. Hontorio Mom says the Oilers have roasted Lindholm for years. Yeah, it is Vancouver days, or his Calgary days, pardon me. And then do you think the Oilers staff care if they switch to fourth line players? They note it. Displaced Yukon are getting in, says, late tuning in, boys. Not sure if you already addressed it. Any thought on Specs' article on Vancouver? Displaced Yukoner, I have not had a chance to read it. Little slow going today after our Birdie Booze launch party yesterday at Birch and Bear. Great time, as always. I will read it, though. I'll get to it and share my thoughts. In the meantime, keep those texts coming in, 780-218-9999. What's going on here in the nasty chat? Safety Bob says line matching will be the key this game. Get the big boys out against the fourth line every chance they get. Make them chase all day long. Get a big game from the third and fourth line tonight, and the Oilers win. It's that simple. Safety Bob, you said it. I can't disagree with that. All right, let's go inside the Oilers locker room. I'll let YouTube Trev pick where we go first. Trev, go for it, pal.
Okie dokie, Tommy. Just looking at the players we have here. Actually, you know what? Let's hear from Chris Knoblauch first.
Okay, sounds good.
Chris, Cam wanted to start. Just wanted to know from a Mother's Day standpoint if you have any memorable hockey Mother's Day stories or just thought on Mother's Day here.
No, I don't think I do on Mother's Day. Where I played, our season was done well before Mother's Day. So maybe coaching. Coaching, I would have coached on a Mother's Day. But I don't remember any of the days.
Leon Draisaitl, expect that he'll be available for tonight, or can you say at this point?
Leon will be available tonight.
And will he remain on the line that he was on last game, or?
He'll be I'm certain there'll be times where they'll be playing left wing with Connor, and there'll be other times where he'll be centering his own line. So we'll see what Vancouver does with their lineup, and we'll adjust from there.
Chris, obviously your power play gets a lot of attention for what they do when they have the puck, but I did notice, like in the last game, you guys they retrieve the puck so well as well. They kind of reset it. They first the rebounds and things like that. How can you maybe just give me a thought on the importance of that to keep the puck in the zone and give them 2, 3, 4 opportunities to score like they did the other night?
Yeah, recovering the puck's very important. And less time you have to spend retrieving it, organizing, and getting set up. Increase your amount of times you get your looks and you can attack and get those quality shots. And, all 5 guys are pretty good at recovering pucks. I think Zach Hyman's a key ingredient to that part of it. So not only off puck retrievals, usually it's off a shot, but also the face-offs are very important. We talked about Leon having a big impact there.
When you took over as head coach, did you bite off the season in increments of like 10 games or something when you were looking at it? Or at that point, were you guys kind of so far behind the 8 ball that you just had to go like hell?
We did it increments of 8 games. We started off, the game was in Washington, and I think at the time we thought we had to win every single game to get back in the picture, and we're trying to do it all at once. And at that time we felt we just needed to win 5 of 8. We went 5 wins, 3 losses, 8 games through the rest of the season. We would have put ourselves in a very good position to make playoffs. I think it would have put us at 91 points. 91 points, probably not going to get you in there, but it would have been really close. So we felt that, we can go 5-3, and there are probably some segments that we could go a little bit better. And we just ultimately wanted to narrow our focus rather than looking at the big picture, just look at what we had to do in the next week or so.
Brett Kulak might not be a flashy defenseman, but how can you describe his value on your team?
Well, I think there is some flash to his game, just with the way he skates. Gets up and down the ice very efficiently, very good skating technique, and he's quick. But the flash where, he's not on the first unit power play or even the second unit power play, but used a lot in the as a depth defenseman. And, he's usually playing somewhere 15 to 19 minutes a night, and periodically some penalty kill time. But, I think the last game against Vancouver, one of our better defensemen, so they played really well. And there's been a lot of times throughout the season where we've relied on him and used him a lot more than a typical game. But, I think with his game, everything starts with his skating. I think he gets around the ice very well, so he can move and open up lanes to advance the puck, get it into the forward's hands, but also his skating helps him defensively on closing on plays quickly.
Sorry to be the lineup hound, but are you contemplating any other changes in the lineup for tonight?
Yes, Adam's not going to be playing today, and Connor Brown will be playing.
What would you say about your third and fourth line and kind of the matchups that they've had in this series, what you've gotten from them, and just your overall thoughts on sort of the depth portion of your forward lines?
I like how they've been playing. I have a lot of trust in them. I'm not hiding them. There's been times I've had them go out there for a defensive zone faceoff that I know their other team's top line's going to be out there. And they've held their own very well. And ultimately that third or fourth line, what you want from them is obviously you'd like them to be a plus every night and have them one more goal than the opposition. But, they've been a little snake bitten, haven't been scoring. But I think they've done a pretty good job of defending and spending time in the offensive zone. And I think it was very evident in the third period in Game 2, where we had a lot of offensive zone time, and a lot of it was started with, the checking of Dylan Holloway or Derek Ryan or Jan Mark or those type of players.
All right, there was Chris Knobloch getting you set for Game 3. Oilers, Canucks, 7:30 puck drop. Should be a lot of fun. We're live on location. Hudson's Wood Avenue. Nice evening here. Beautiful day outside. People on their motorcycles wearing Oilers jerseys. They're ready to go for sure. You know who else is ready to go? Matt Kassian, our game analyst, as we get you set for Game Changers with Cass. Hello, buddy. How's that pork belly? How did it come
good.
out?
The pork belly was good. Pork shoulder was good.
Yeah.
Had a bunch extra, so drove some over to my mom and dad's house last night and let them have a little bit of a little late night snack after that too. But it turned out well. It got hit with the old double stall, so the shoulder took a little bit longer to cook than I'd like, but that cannot be helped. You cannot rush it. So just kind of stayed steady, stayed ready, and then it was delicious when it came out.
Nice. Succulent. Delicious smoked meats. How was Mother's Day? What'd you guys get up to, you and the girls? What'd you guys do for Mandy?
It was good. Well, we, did the church thing in the morning, and then I had plans to go to some of the garden centers. She really likes gardening and flowers and plants, and so it was to go take her to a couple of those, and then she told me that all she wanted was time to herself. Without the kids around. So she was just like, I just want to go out and do my own thing and have some space and not worry about being back home and getting anything done, which we're happy to oblige. So she's been out for most of the day just doing her own thing. And then we went over to my parents' place for a little bit to check in, and then kicked around outside doing some rollerblading and some biking and lots of chalk drawing. So it was a solid afternoon for the Kassian clan.
Nice. I like that. A little time for mama goes a long way, obviously. I appreciate that. That's kind of funny, but a good Mother's Day for sure. And hopefully it was fulfilling for Mandy. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there as well, if you didn't catch it earlier. But I'll say it again. Happy Mother's Day. Add to my mom and my grandma. Happy Mother's Day. All right, let's get to Game Changers, brought to you by Damon Bunting, Remax Elite. Damon Bunting, consistent top producing realtor in Greater Edmonton and among Western Canadian Remax realtors. He and his team would love to help you find that right home or make the move from your current home. Community driven. Damon understands what it takes to make a difference in our city. Check him out, DamonBunting.com, or visit his Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate. All right, number one cast for tonight's game, loaded baked potato.
Load up that top line, Tommy. Load it up. Good. Load it up. Nice and tight. Nice and tight. Loading up the top line. Getting to the nuclear option, some people call it. The big group. But putting together Leon Draisaitl, Connor McDavid, and Zach Hyman all on the same line. All on the same line. Now, we've seen every coach do it. I don't love it all the time, but in some situations it makes sense. And in a playoff series where you're like, hey, these guys they're chipping away at points. You didn't love their game one. Game two, they were flying. They were playing much, much better. It's a tough line to contain. And if the rest of the lineup can just kind of hang in there and be okay, that line has the potential to dominate. But you're going fully loaded here. I mean, you got your bacon bits, you got your sour cream, you got your cheese, you got your green onions. You're mashing it all up, and you're going full bore here. So I don't want to say the game hinges on those three having a night, but it kind of hinges on those three having a night. I mean, if that group is bad and you've loaded up that line, if they are not able to score, if they're not able to drop penalties and produce, you're probably in one. So, Tom, the story of this game is going to be, can that line produce? And then secondary to that, can the rest of the lineup kind of just maintain and stay steady? Yeah.
Do you foresee that line, top line, Draisaitl, McDavid, and Hyman playing upwards of 30 minutes? They got pretty darn close the other night. Do you think that we're going to see that again tonight?
Depends on the game, because it depends if you're chasing or not. If you're chasing, you're loading up that line and letting them go. Like if you're behind, if Vancouver scores first and you need to score, you absolutely are going to play that group a ton. Now, if you have the lead, let's say you're up 1 goal or 2 goals, you're probably going to temper it a little bit from a minute standpoint if you trust your other players to be out there. But the second, you're behind, that's when those guys are going to play that many minutes, because you're chasing. Fair enough. If you're chasing, you need to score. 2 of the best players in the world on the line, you're going to have them out there. So we'll see. I think it depends on the game and the game flow. If they can control right out from the start of the hockey game, they'll probably try to pace those minutes a little bit. If they're chasing it all, be ready for him to play a ton.
218 9999 780 in front of that. If you want to text us and you want to ask something to Cass, fire away, of course. You can also get at us in the Nasty Chat, and you can directly message Cass, and he'll write back to you in all caps. That means he's yelling at you.
Yep.
And that's what he does. That's what he does in the Nasty Chat. He's a yeller.
I do.
Cass number 2 on Game Changers. Flavor saver. What do you mean, Cass?
What do I mean? I mean, you need a big flavor save, I think, from Stuart Skinner tonight. It could be the night where that one big save makes a difference between winning and losing. We've seen him, game 1 wasn't fantastic. We didn't like some of the goals. Game 2, had one that he didn't like. I don't think anybody really liked from Zadorov from the side. I still think it's with the way goalies are coached to play that position. He played it how he was supposed to play it, and it was a great shot. That being said, you don't like seeing those going in the playoffs. But tonight, Tom, it just kind of strikes me as a game where Stuart Skinner's going to have to make a save or two. And if he makes that big save or two, you probably win a hockey game. It's going to be tight. Again, Vancouver's going to play that same aggressive forecheck, that same just systematic, structured game that we have seen from them so far in the series. And Stuart Skinner probably going to have to make a big save or two. So the big flavor save. Yep. I've
jokingly said this, Cass. I was saying it yesterday when people were talking about the game, game number 2. Talking about Stu Skinner, and I go, well, there's progress in his game from game 1 to 2. He let in 3 bad ones in game 1, just the one in game 2. So he's trending in the right direction. And obviously that's a bit in jest, but were you more assured by his game the other night, or do you still have some questions in regard to him? Because I know that there's fans in Edmonton that would look at Stu Skinner and go, I don't know right now. I don't know. That game 1 really kind of shook them a bit, and they're trusting him.
Those are the same people that were just on emotional roller coaster rides the entire season.
Not Oilers fans.
No, never. Would never happen. No, none of that ever.
Nope.
Same people that were questioning the goaltending heading into the trade deadline, questioning the goaltending at the start of the year, questioning the goaltending when they should have questioned the goaltending at the beginning of the year when everyone was struggling, questioning the goaltending late in the season, and just were, the second Stuart Skinner didn't have a perfect game, they were like going full Arnold, like anytime there was a shot on net where he struggled. I have not felt that. I have felt confident in Stuart Skinner. I have been called the Stuart Skinner homer multiple times in the Nasty Chat. Whatever. I don't care. I have had confidence in him, and I think he's still a goalie that can get the job done. So it hasn't really affected me that much. Now, you watch him, and as we texted, as we talked about, I'm just like, that was bad. That wasn't good. He needs to make those saves. It's fair to say that and to think that, but I still am confident in him. I mean, you won a series in 5 games, and you split on the road against a good Vancouver team. So why should you not feel confidence, in my opinion?
No, you summed it up nicely. And I mean, to me, listening to the guys, seeing them and how they react to Stu Skinner, I don't think that their confidence in him has wavered at all, to be honest with you. So I think the Oilers in general pretty happy with the 2 goalies that they have nowadays. Jack Campbell, different story, but that is something that they don't have to worry about because he is not one of their go-to guys. All right, 780-218-9999. I see a couple of texts coming in. Phoenix Rising says Skinner is not very athletic, and then Chandler says Skinner is just not very good. I disagree with all due respect. The guy was a Calder finalist. The guy was an all-star last year. Is he perfect? No. Is he elite in the NHL? No. He's a good goalie, but some people aren't fans, and you can't persuade them all. Also, Cass, Florida just tied it up 2-2, but it looks like they're reviewing it right now, coach's challenge. So potentially interference. Is that what it is? They got the overhead look. I think it's going to be a good goal. All right, we're talking Oilers and Canucks here. It is Game Changers, brought to you by Damon Bunting Remax Elite. Number 1 was Loaded Baked Potato. Number 2 was Flavor Saver Cast. Number 3, Make the Minutes Count, you say.
Make the minutes count for your bottom 6 or your bottom 9 in this instance. I mean, you already asked the question, kind of a prelude to this point of how much does that top line play, and it does depend on the game, what's been going on. But for the rest of the players in that lineup, yeah, your minutes could be down from what you're normally used to, from the minutes you normally play, but you have to make the most of it. And we had, and you heard in the interview with Knobloch talking about the bottom 6 and talking about the guys, how they haven't found ways to score. And he said what I say all the time, which is those guys, especially with McDavid and Draisaitl, you got to be even or better. Even or better. If you are even or better as a bottom 6 forward for this Edmonton Oilers team, you're in pretty good shape. Now, there are nights when, yes, it would be nice to get that offense. It would be good to score. They've been a little bit snake, but they haven't found ways to put the puck in the net. You would like them to do that, but they need to make those minutes count. And they do that not just by scoring, but by spending time in the offensive zone, by wearing other teams out. You hem him in for a minute and then get a change on the fly so that McDavid and Draisaitl can step on, or force an icing with a tired group out there. Like that's where their game is going to be very beneficial for this team. And on top of that, just playing good, solid, sound defensive hockey is going to be important for this team. If your bottom 6, not necessarily the second line, I'd say put more onus on the second line. So what looks like it's going to be, Fogle, Ryan Nugent Hopkins, and Evander Kane today. That line I'd put onus on. Hey, yeah, they got to produce. You'd like them to produce. But for the McLeod line and for the Ryan line, hey, even or better, boys. Spend some time in the offensive zone. Don't leave the ice with your team in a worse situation than when you get on the ice every single time. That's got to be the onus on those guys, but make the minutes count. You might not have a ton of them depending on how the game goes, but just play clean hockey. Play clean minutes. No big mistakes, no big turnovers. Pressure the puck. Get it to the net when you have the opportunity. Get bodies to the net when you have the opportunity. Make it difficult for Vancouver to get out of their zone and make it easy to get out of your own zone. That's going to be the name of the game for that bottom 6 tonight.
See if they can do it. The goal does stand in Boston, so 2-2. Jim Montgomery needs this button right now. Because he has been just dropping a lot of fudges.
He does that, yeah.
Yeah.
He's one of those guys, yeah.
He is angry. Sam, if you're wondering what the heck happened, Sam Bennett kind of pushed Charlie Coyle, and he fell on top of Jeremy Swayman, and then Bennett put it in net. The challenge was no good, so now the Florida Panthers find themselves on the power play with 16 minutes left in the third period of that game, and we'll see if that's going to be that could be a huge swing. I mean, they almost just scored there, but Cass, like, the argument was Bennett pushed Coyle. Coyle like braced himself and then fell on top of Swayman, and then the puck came to Bennett and he just banged it in. I don't think Coyle did a good enough job staying on his feet. Like, it was almost like he delayed falling on him. So anyway, I'm just describing what happened in the other game tonight. 2-2. Panthers on the power play. Minute left. 15 minutes left in the third period as we get you set for the Oilers and the Canucks. Cass, no Adam Henrique tonight. What did you think of him in game 2? I thought he was ginger, didn't play a ton. How big of a hole will that leave on the lineup tonight?
Well, it's not leaving much more of a hole than when he played, because he didn't give you a lot. And from a minute standpoint and from a play standpoint, there wasn't a lot there. Now he's hurt. He's trying to play hurt. Looks like an ankle injury, or we're told it's an ankle injury, which can hamper. Very few players can play well with an ankle. And if it's a high ankle sprain, very difficult to play well with.
Those suck.
Those really suck. Now, Leon Draisaitl, a little bit more of a special player than Adam Henrique, where he was able to still have a dramatic amount of success in spite of the injury. But you could still see even then, like, it hampered him, it hurt him, it was difficult. And I think I saw the same thing from Adam Henrique. And really, you're looking at this going, okay, Adam Henrique, if you get him for 8 to 10 minutes, and if that 8 to 10 minutes is at 70%, 60%. And if he gets into a situation where it's like, he needs to pivot really quickly, throw on the brakes, get back in the other direction to back check or to apply pressure, whatever the case may be, you have some doubts about high pressure moments, what he's able to do just because of an injury. And you look at that and you go, okay, does that make more sense, or does it make more sense to say, we can throw Brown in on the fourth line and give Holloway a few more minutes and McLeod and Perry, a few more minutes, and let Brown eat up just a couple of them and take out some of that question mark? To me, it makes sense. And that's always it, Tom, with players when you're injured and injured in the playoffs in particular is, is player X at X% better than the next man up? And in this instance, I think they looked at it, they said, he's not going to be better than McLeod playing center on that third line at this point in time with what he's able to give. So let's get someone else in the lineup.
I was surprised he even played in game number 2, and good on him for battling through it, whatever they did to get him
hard
ready.
To do. Yeah. Incredibly hard to do.
Yeah, absolutely. How about Derek Ryan's little, how's your father, as Austin Powers would say, to Nils Höglander the other night. No discipline there.
No,
that was dirty. But Cass, your assessment of that? No repercussion.
No, I mean, hey, it's playoffs. Stuff happens, Tom.
Yeah. Ouchies. That one hurt just watching it.
It does. It's one of those ones where you giggle. Right, like you're giggling, but you're also like, ugh, yeah. Funny every time, but not funny at the same time.
780-218-9999. It is the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show live on location. Hudson's Wet Avenue. People coming in now. Nice to see. Beautiful day out there. Cass at the satellite studios, and YouTube Trev holding things down back at ESTHQ. Cass, I threw it out there to our listeners and our viewers. It was the question of the night. It's how will the Oilers do at home in games 3 and 4? Text us 780-218-9999 and get at us in the nasty chat. So I want to bring that up, and I want to get your take on what you expect from the Oilers in games 3 and 4, having home ice, having the crowd behind them. What do you think the crowd is going to be like? Because it was great for the Canucks in Vancouver, super loud. But what do you think, Cass, in terms of games 3 and 4?
I think it's going to be a similar environment. You're going to have a super loud crowd, super into it. I think people that watched those games, which pretty much everyone probably that's going tonight watched those games against Vancouver, they're going to be excited and they're going to be noisy, and it's going to be great. The atmosphere, I think, is going to be thick in the air. You're going to be able to feel it, feel the tension, feel the energy. I think Edmonton picks up where they left off in this first game. I don't even want to comment on game 4 because that's
okay.
Game 4. It all depends what happens in game 3.
Fair.
We are moment to moment with this, Tom. And just like the Oilers and Vancouver Canucks would both say to you, it's moment to moment, right? It's shift to shift. It's second to second. But for game 3, I expect Edmonton to come out of the gate flying. You're back at home. You had a big win. You had a dominant third period. Finally, the first period that you really dominated, it was that third period in game 2. So I think you were able to pick up some momentum off of that, and you're going to be looking to jump at it. Now, Vancouver, again, plays very aggressive. It's going to be a challenge to do that. But I do think if I was going to say, hey, what do I think is going to happen tonight? I think Edmonton comes out of the gate, plays a very strong first period. I think they get up a couple goals, and then it evens out a little bit over the course of the game as Vancouver is able to push back into it. And I don't want to say it's going to be Edmonton just holding on to a lead. I would like to see them push through with a lead, but I think it's going to be still a tight game. I think you're just going to see Edmonton in a little bit more of the driver's seat tonight.
That's a good thing, and I'm looking forward to seeing if they can do that, having that crowd behind them. What do you make of Artur Shilovs in the way he's played in the 2 games so far, Cass?
Yeah, well, he was horrible in game 1. Lots better in game 2. Like he played not bad in the second game. It's not like he was on the verge of stealing it, I would say, for the Vancouver Canucks, but he played much more solid. Like he was steady. He looked all right in game 2. So game 1, not very good. Game 2, he was okay. Some of them not his fault from a goal standpoint, where you're like, hey, I don't think they go to Casey DeSmith, especially if he's not at absolute 100%, because he was okay. He was okay.
Yeah.
Doesn't get the win, but he was fine. He wasn't the issue for the Canucks.
Yeah, he faced a lot of rubber in that third period and held the fort for the Canucks. Artur Shilovs and Stu Skinner are your goalies tonight. I did encourage people to get questions in for Cass, and one did come in right off the hop. It says, thoughts on Kane's series so far. Cass, what have you noticed from 91 in orange and blue? in these 2 games.
Been a little bit quieter than he was in the LA series, and I don't know if that's just LA emotionally. He was able to get there easier, like just with the stylistically how LA plays and how much they've played them, and some of the we'll call it the relationships that he has formed against some of the players on that team in playing them so often. I would say that probably lent, and even stylistically, it lent itself a little bit more to Evander Kane playing Evander Kane's way. You know, he did a couple things that third period game 1, which were all right. Game 2, not as noticeable. Maybe got going a little bit, but he is a player that you would like to see more from, especially being elevated. Now, he's a top 6 player. I truly think that. And he's been playing on the third line at times, but top 6 player. I think with the elevation where you are going with that fully loaded top line, there's a little bit more of an urgency for Evander Kane to find his legs again here, to get to the front of the net again, to cause some of that chaos, to increase his physicality a little bit, and to just be better and do what he does well.
780-218-9999. It is the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. Frithie wants to know, why not Gags? If Connor Brown is going to play 7 minutes and none on the PK, why play him? He doesn't even hit anyone. A lot of people want to see Sam Gagner play his first ever Oilers playoff game, myself included, but how do you rationalize it, Cass? I know he's good. He's going to give you everything he can. He's going to play with his, with his heart. He's going to go balls to the wall, all those cliches in terms that we could use. But how does Sam Gagner get in to the lineup or at all in the postseason?
It's going to be tough. I think this is most likely. So this is me assume. This is an assumption, maybe analyzing, whatever you want to call it. This is how I would imagine that decision was made of Connor Brown over top of Sam Gagner. First and foremost, Connor Brown is a penalty killer.
Right.
Connor Brown's a penalty killer. Second to this, in this situation, you are playing McDavid, Draisaitl, and Hyman together. Now, from a 5-on-5 standpoint, if you look at, coming off of the penalty kill, coming off of, in particular, when you have killers out there, you are going to want to get back to that McDavid, Draisaitl, Hyman line as quick as you can. 5-on-5. I mean, that's going to be your power line, 5-on-5. Those are the guys you want out there. And having an additional penalty killer and a guy that killed penalties all year, I think makes it a little bit of a smoother transition. You have more options to move directly to McDavid, Draisaitl, and Hyman. That's most likely the direction that they're going, or that's why they're going the direction that they're going, with Connor Brown stepping in instead of Sam Gagner. Now, if Brown were to get hurt, Gagner's probably in. At this point, you say probably injury. Like if one more guy goes down, it's Sam Gagner that's stepping in, particularly a bottom 6 player. But for now, it's probably Connor Brown. That's and they're probably looking at the speed of the series as well as a secondary issue to say Vancouver plays fast. They really do. And Gags, as you said, he's going to block a shot with his face if he has to.
Yeah.
He will battle all over the ice, but he's not as fleet of foot as he used to be. He's not, and that's not me trying to harp on Sam at all. But Connor Brown's still fast, and even if he's not scoring goals, he plays fast, and he hasn't been a defensive liability all year. We can say that about him.
Yeah, that's a good point. Brown did play the game 1, 7:35 time on ice. He did play 31 seconds shorthanded. Took a penalty, and what did he have? He had 1 shot that was missed, 1 hit, and that was it. That was a stat line from game 1. So, I understand the Gags rationale, and you make a good point, Cass. You do about him. Hersey checking in says, "Hey, Tommy and Cass, checking in from Loveland, Colorado. Put it on the board. Super pumped for this game. War of a series. I love it. Love this type of hockey. Go Oil, go." And go Cats from Hersey. And then let's go to the Wolf. The Wolf is in Grand Cache. He's got his AM Nasty jersey. Ow! Nicely done, Wolf. Cass, you're getting praise. Great energy from you tonight. Love it.
Ooh,
and
nice.
This text also says, could you imagine the home crowd if Gagner hit the ice? It's incredible. Like
it would be something.
I know. And you and I have a ton of respect for him, both as a player and as a person. It sucks that, he's been traded twice by the team. Came back for the third stint. Did his due diligence, worked his butt off, started the year in the minors, gets called up, played well when he did get his opportunities this year. And he's never played a playoff game with the Oilers. I'd like to see it. You know what I mean?
That would be
it has
nice.
to be right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does have to be right. I mean, there's the emotional component to it too. And I know I just rationale it for what most likely the organization is looking at. And that's what they should do. You want to make those rational decisions for the most part. But Tommy, can you imagine? I mean, he could be an emotional boost. I mean, Sam Gagner, maybe that would be a way he gets in, is if things go sideways, then you're trying to get, especially at home, trying to get an emotional spark.
Good point.
Could be something you look at, but yeah, I mean, it would be fun seeing him just from a pure fan standpoint to get that. Like, it would be I think a pretty emotionally rewarding moment, both for him and for the team and for the fans in attendance. So who knows? Maybe it does happen, Tommy. It would be great to see, but alas, it is not to be tonight.
Not for tonight. Well said, as always, Cass. Fantastic work. I will catch up with you on the post-game show, my friend.
Sounds good, buddy. Look forward to it.
That is Matt Kassian, our game analyst with Game Changers. Great stuff from Cass, as always. Game Changers brought to you by Damon Bunting, Remax Elite. All right. We will go over the lineups really quickly one more time. Teams hitting the ice for warm-up. And if there was any gamesmanship, quote-unquote, let's say, from Rick Tocchet with maybe putting a couple of guys that we're not too familiar with in to the rotation at morning skate today. I'm talking about Nils Aman and Linus Karlsson. Maybe that changes. I'm just trying to keep an eye on it. Trev, have you seen anything in terms of lineups for tonight?
I was just looking right now, actually, and still nothing. Still nothing has come out, Tommy.
Okay. All right. We'll keep tabs on that on X. Ooh, look at Belzy. Hello, Belzy. You're going to get Belzy on here. Hey, buddy. Before we do that, let's go to Rick Tocchet, and Belzy will join us as we're going to head out to the game in about 15 minutes time, and Trev will wrap things up. All right, let's go here from Rick Tocchet, and then Belzy will join us on the other end of Tocchet.
Yeah, I haven't really made a decision yet, so it's not 100%. So it's a moot point to go through who's playing or not right now. We haven't really made a decision.
What have you seen from Karlsson or point of game in the minors?
Yeah, just a good wall, sticky guy, goes to the net, nut friend guy. Like he's really progressed as the year went on. I think talking to some people, he had a really good playoff. Just things like that. He's a viable option for us tonight. Definitely something that can add some stuff for us if he does play.
Already started?
Yeah. Yep.
Rick, Bill at GCL said he wasn't on the ice with you at all. Is there an injury there?
Personal reasons. Yeah. And the progress is getting better and better. You say, I don't know if it took a few shots. That's a good sign. That's the way you got to look at it. And like I said, these things, some days you wake up, you might be 20%, but I don't know. But he has definitely progressed. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's high alert. There's going to be some guys that might be out there, and you can't panic. You can't look for the bench. I got to change right away. Obviously we'd like some changes, but you can't at certain times, and you got to be able to defend. And we got to execute more. I'm not a fan of icing the puck, knowing that McDavid and Draisaitl are coming over on a tired group. So we got to make sure that we have our execution is better and we don't ice a lot of pucks tonight.
Rick, just over here. You guys went into Nashville, really tough building, and won 3 games there. I guess what was the key, in your opinion, to going in there and winning in that tough building, and trying to do it?
Well, I think the sample size of we're a good road team. Like, we can play on the road. We have some good resolve. We can, I think you can play a low-scoring game. or if we need some goals, that we've went on the road where we've had to score some goals. So I think it's the resolve. I think we have enough of a good sample size to feel comfortable playing on the road. Obviously, I think they're one of the best home records, especially the last 60. I don't know how many games, not very many games they've lost. So it's a tough building, and there's a reason why. So that's why, to me, our execution and our willingness to hold pucks and make plays is going to be important for us tonight.
Can you play a bit more patient on the road than maybe at home? Is it easier to kind of play that patient, kind of wait for your chances game?
Yeah, I like the word patience to a point. Like, doesn't mean we want to back off. Like, I thought in the third we backed off at home. So we can't play that style. But the patience of if moving the game along, things like that, yes, the resolve of that for sure.
Good afternoon, Rick. You talk about executing a little bit better.
Yeah.
At least hoping to. What are some of the tendencies you need to see from your group a little bit more to maintain a little bit more possession with the puck?
Composure with the puck. I just think there's some times we had the puck where we could have skated or held on it for an extra second to make a really good play. Edmonton had the full throttle down, and there were some times there, if we made a couple of plays or we had a 3-on-1 or a 4-on-2, that's a good way of counteracting and making teams not as aggressive. Listen, if you're not executing and you're dumping pucks out, I don't blame the other team going crazy and going for it. But if you make a couple of good passes and you're getting 3-on-1s, the other team's going to back off. So we just got to make these plays. They're there. And we felt there were 6 opportunities to counteract, and we didn't. So hopefully tonight we do counteract. Attack.
I know you don't control last change on the road, but in a perfect world, are you still looking to get the Miller line and Susie pair out there against David, or are you looking at?
Well, I mean, that's why we went and got Lindy. We have 4 good centers. Teddy Bluger, he's on the ice. He's a good defensive guy. Mills. So that's the one thing. We have 4 good centers. So that helps for when you're on the road and you have mismatches of having that forced center kind of rotation.
All right, that was Canucks head coach Rick Tocchet. Sean Bell with us now, looking sharp, buddy. Thanks, nice. Buddy. That's your suit from Modern Measure. Great spot. Jared came out yesterday and hung out at the Birdie Booze launch party. That was a great time.
It was a great time.
You had Lindsay, your wife, and little Evie with you.
Yeah, a couple buddies. They were they're all having a great time. So it was wicked. Great event.
It was a lot of fun. Okay. Is your mic okay? Trev, does that sound better? I fixed it. Should be all right now.
It's coming in a little hollow. We're getting a little bit of
noise. Is it better here?
Is that better?
Or it just sounds like we're getting your laptop speaker. As opposed to,
weird. Let's fix that. I can fix that right now. There we go.
There you go. Yeah. There it is.
There's Belsey.
There we go. Yep. Great time last night.
All right. So we're getting ready for game number 3 here, Oilers and Canucks. Text us 780-218-9999. Panthers lead the Bruins 3-2. Bruins got a power play, 6 minutes left. We'll see if they can get the equalizer. Belsey, what are your thoughts on the first 2 games of this Oilers-Canucks series?
Oh, it's been good. It's been a physical battle. It's been a test for both sides. Vancouver's coming at Edmonton aggressively. They're trying to take away as much time and space for the top guys as they possibly can. And in game 2, we talked about this the other day, but Edmonton basically had to throw the kitchen sink at them.
Yeah.
They put that line together. They put the big line together. They were dominant in stretches for sure. So you're going to see a motivated Vancouver team, because if you're sitting there thinking, from Vancouver's side, well, they just threw this thing at us. They put the big guys together. We were able to kind of weather the storm. We lost an OT. You can almost feel a little bit of encouragement from it. But at the same time, if you're the Oilers, you got to come out the exact same way you finished off. And you got to use the fans. You got to be electric. You got to come at them in waves, because I do think you actually have the speed advantage in this series. That's partly why, the Canucks are trying to sit guys above McDavid, trying to slow them down through the neutral zone in particular. So it's going to be a really good series, or it's going to be a good game tonight, and it's been a great series so far.
On the back end for the Oilers, I know, especially after game 1, a lot of people pointed at Nurse and Ceci, a combined -6 in game 1. That's not acceptable.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to deny that. But they were better in game 2. There were still quite a few people that weren't overly impressed with their game. and that pairing's performance as a whole. What are you seeing from those guys, and what do they have to do to be better?
They're given time and space away. Like, they're just some of the details that you're seeing over the course of the season, in particular with Darnell Nurse, where he was using his skating. That's one of his best assets. So I have a tough time understanding why he doesn't try to use that more to skate his way, out of maybe trouble, or cut guys off and in the lanes, and I just feel that they're giving a little bit too much time and space. We talked about this on Hello Hockey the other day, where the Zadorov goal. Well, in that goal, he should never even been able to cross the blue line. Because I'm not trying to disrespect his game, but at the end of the day, I don't personally think that he's got a toe drag in his bag of tricks.
No.
So if Cody Ceci is doing what he's supposed to, you've got good back pressure coming from Evander Kane. Cody Ceci can now step up in the lane, have good stick on puck, and probably turns it over at the blue.
Right.
But he gives him the line, he backs off, and then all of a sudden he's able to get a shot from the corner that's basically a seeing eye shot, and it goes in the net. So it's just little pieces like that of their game that's missing. But if they can just kind of get it back, get some confidence back in their game, I think they'll be fine.
McDavid, Draisaitl, Hyman, looks like that line will be together. They almost played half an hour. They played close to 30 minutes, especially McDavid and Draisaitl. Are we going to see more of the same, or do you think Chris Knoblauch tries to spread it out a bit more?
Well, those guys, McDavid, Draisaitl, Hyman. It almost seems like they never get tired. They're like thoroughbreds, and they just keep going and they go and they go. And if you're the Edmonton Oilers, well, you got to be careful with it, but at the same time, that your star players, they want to be the guys. They want to be out there on the ice. This is always something that we've seen from McDavid time and time again, whether it was a nothing game, a meaningless game, or a big-time game. Like, he always wants to be on the ice. He always wants to be a difference maker. So you're hoping, kind of what Cass said, is that, your bottom 6 or your bottom 9 is more or less even or above, and then you take these guys and then you say, okay, go. Let's see if you can win us a game. And that's exactly what happened in game 2.
Corey Perry, I think a lot of people expected him to be more of a factor in the postseason. He hasn't had one of those moments yet. What are you seeing from the Wiley vet in the playoffs?
Well, I don't think he's been hurting you. Okay. I think he's been, the game's fast, and obviously he's lost a little bit of a step, but there's still things that he can do from a leadership perspective that are helping the Oilers. I would like to be able to see him be a little bit more of a nuisance at the net front.
I like that idea.
Like that, to me, that would be where he can make his impact in the series, because this is a skating series.
Yeah.
And Corey Perry has not got the legs that he used to, which is okay, as long as you're able to contribute in other ways that are going to help the team win.
780-218-9999. Oh, I like this one. Rusty Shackelford says, T-Biscuit, big question of the night, is Joaquin Gage wearing his leather? What do you think?
Without question.
He's definitely. Yeah. It was hilarious. He literally walked into Hudson's Bourbon Street, and he's like, hey, Tommy. And he's like, look. And then they scored. I'm like, wow, okay. Big Uke text again, says, I'm going to say the same thing I said last pregame. Please don't suck. Let's go Oilers, says Big Uke. Let's see what's going on in the nasty chat. Nasty chat's kind of quiet, slowing down a little bit. A lot of people watching. That's good to see.
Yeah, a lot of people watching. It's really good.
Yeah.
I think guys are trying to settle in, get ready for the game, come out hot, screaming from their couches, whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
We need it. We need that electricity.
Speaking of the electricity, that'll, obviously in the city and at watch parties and all that, but in the building, as a player, can you harness it? How do you harness it? What's the right way to handle your crowd?
Without question.
Yeah.
You come out hot. You use that first 10 minutes. There's lots of different cities, lots of buildings across the hockey landscape that it's going to be a rough ride the first 10 minutes, because fans are going to be on top of you. The team's going to come out. They're going to use that energy. That's what you want to see from the Edmonton Oilers. Skate, skate, skate. Make Vancouver play at your pace, not the other way around.
We'll see if the Oilers can do that. Belzy, great stuff. Thank you for hopping on for a bit. And you and I are off to the rink. We're going to hand things off to YouTube. Trev, you got the show the rest of the way. You good to go, buddy?
Let's go. Yeah, this is going to be fun.
All right. Oilers and Canucks game number 3. Big thank you to everyone who tuned in, texted in. Trev will take it from here. We are off to the arena. And then be sure to tune in to the GCL Diesel post-game show with myself, Ed Cass. Maybe Belzy will stick around too for that one. You can stick around. It's going to be a late Sunday.
We'll see.
Should be good. All right, YouTube Trev, take it away, my friend.
Sounds good, boys. Thank you for that. Safe travels on the way to the arena.
Thank you.
Awesome. Sweet. What is up, guys? How are we doing today? This is the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show brought to you by, well, I guess YouTube Trev. I'm holding things down today. Thanks for tuning in. We really appreciate it. This is a good one. I'm very excited, as are a lot of the nasties. So this is awesome. I just want to say at the beginning of the show, yeah, I did. My words weren't quite there, so I apologize. And a lot of people were ripping on me in the nasty chat. I'm still learning, okay? So I apologize for that. But it's Oilers, it's Canucks. It's Game 3 tonight here in Edmonton. This is great. I cannot wait for this game as well as a lot of the nasties. So this is sweet to get things started here. I'm going to start a poll. The question in that poll is: do you like the nuclear option with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl on the same line? So I'm starting that right now. Let's see it loads. There it goes. Okay, sweet. Personally, my take on this, and Cass kind of, he's so good at explaining things. But this has worked in the past. You've seen Dave Tippett, obviously. That was kind of his strategy for quite some time. He'd go into games depending on if it was a lesser team, and that was in the North Division year when they really relied on Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl on the top line. Chris Knobloch is definitely, that's not been his go-to, but I mean, that's kind of the recipe for success. We saw the first time the Oilers were able to beat the Vancouver Canucks just the other day was, that top line. And to be frank, I don't mind it when those guys are out. You saw it. It's the puck's in the ozone, right? They're controlling the game. They're doing everything. So I don't mind it. But the only thing I really don't appreciate or I don't like is it tends to just let the other guys sit back. And that was kind of the case. You saw the minutes, right? Connor McDavid was 29 minutes. Leon Draisaitl as well, right up there with they played almost half a game. So it's crazy. Obviously, if you're going to do that, you want to see the likes of the Fogels, Evander Kane, the second line, third line, a lot more guys chiming in or chipping in. But early results on this poll, we got 35 votes. Well, that'd be, let's go, Nasties. That's awesome. 66% of you guys say yes, and 34% of you say no. I totally see both sides. I really do, right? Yeah, you want to be, and the Oilers do have the luxury of being a really good. They have probably the best center depth in the whole NHL. So I get it, but it looks like this is the way that they're going to go. And depending on if they win again tonight, it looks like that's probably going to be the case going into the next game as well. So just wanted to rattle that off. A good poll for sure. But let's quickly go back into the Oilers locker room tonight. This guy. He's going to have to step up. We haven't seen a heck of a whole lot of him offensively, that is. So here's number 93 for your Edmonton Oilers, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins.
Clearly, I guess the mindset remains the same, that every shift or every moment could be one that swings the momentum of the game or the series.
Yeah, definitely. It's the mindset in playoffs is you have to be sharp every time you're out there because, like you said, one moment, one mistake can be the difference maker in a game, and we expect a tight one again tonight, but excited to be back home ice.
We talked before the series about the two Canadian teams, the passion. You've been in the league a long time. How much do you actually notice crowd noise or chanting or the vibe when you're in the heat of the game?
I mean, when it's that loud, you definitely notice it. I mean, we notice it at home. We felt it, we heard it in Vancouver, but for us, I think it's just makes it more fun to play. In an atmosphere like that, obviously more fun in Edmonton when they're behind you, but at the same time, you get energy from a loud crowd, and we definitely enjoyed it.
I would ask you, your power play gets a lot of talk for what it does with the puck, but when you guys don't have the puck, you guys are doing an exceptional job of retrieving it and getting second and third chances. I thought maybe you could give us a thought on how important those retrievals are when they, off rebounds, off shots.
On power, are you talking?
Yeah, power play.
Yeah, I think it kind of goes back to our mindset of just work first, and we'll make plays off that. And a lot of times you got to go get the puck, and you lose a face-off, you got to go get it, and make a play off of that. So that's always our mindset. And also when you strip a guy or you outman a guy and all of a sudden you get the puck, a lot of times something something is open off of that. So we know that, and then sometimes it's about being patient, but definitely there's times to strike, and I think we found a good balance so far.
Just the game that you guys need to win in the playoffs, no matter what round you're in. Do you feel like you're close to finding that?
Well, I mean, I think the way that we fought back every time they went up one the other night is a good indication of how we can play, how we need to play. We've shown it a lot during the season about winning those tight games and not needing to score 5-6 goals to win every game, and we can win those tight ones that are low scoring too. So I still believe that we have another level to get to here, so we expect that from ourselves tonight, but I mean, we're going to keep getting better.
That's a skill, I would imagine, coming out and being able to just play the way you want to play, kind of no matter what they're doing. It's something you kind of need to be able to do in the playoffs.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's not just game to game, it's shift to shift, it's period to period. You have to be able to be consistent, and it's your effort, but also just the mentality of how you're going to play is going to eventually break them down. And I mean, we've been able to do it at times, but we can definitely stick to it and find ways to win like that.
Awesome. This is the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. I am YouTube Trev. Finishing things off here, Tom Gazzola and Sean Bell are on their way to Rogers Place, where it is Game 3 of this series, Oilers and Canucks. I mean, I think it's lived up the hype for me personally. I've enjoyed every second of it. But speaking of good games, just to keep you in the loop of the out-of-town scores, the Florida Panthers, wow, what a series that is. They take a 3-1 series lead over the Boston Bruins. What a finish that was. So I see a lot of nasties were watching that one. So yeah, you love to see it. But let's just take a quick look at the nasty chat. Lots of words of love. You guys are absolute beauties. Sean Daniels show, he's showing some love as well. Taylor from Indiana, YTT, let's go. Okay, YTT, tell us a secret now about Rizzy. I don't know what that means, actually, but Zach to come chiming in. Trev, you're the best. Well, I really, really appreciate that, Zach. So that's awesome. And feel free to chime in on the nasty chat and the text line as well. You can text us at 780-218-9999. Just looking. What do we got here? No, we haven't really got a text. We haven't got a text in a minute. Yeah, so feel free to send me a text if you have a question. I would love to try my best to answer it for sure. One stat I did want to get at, and I kind of said this in the last, when we finished off, I guess it would have been Game 5 of the Kings. When I finished off that show, I said, who was a player that has surprised you the most? And I kind of want to go back to that. There's another player that I want to talk about that has, it's not really... It's fairly obvious, but just the numbers that he's been able to put up. And in this stat, you'll be able to see fewest games to 90 points, career playoff points, which is just insane. Leon Draisaitl's just in elite company. He really is. And you look at the two players ahead of him, only two players in NHL history have ever been able to reach 90 points faster than number 29 of your Edmonton Oilers. You got, obviously, Wayne Gretzky, 43 games, which is just ridiculous, and Mario Lemieux, 45 games. So it really just goes to show, I'm not surprised, but I think a lot of people can say just it really looked like Leon Draisaitl was battling it this year. I think that's fairly obvious. It was a topic of conversation, whether it was on the Nielsen show, pre or post. I don't know. He still did get a 100-point season, but it really just didn't feel like that. So he hasn't taken the foot off the pedal at all in the postseason, and just the fact that he's been able to keep this pace. You hear what McDavid was like, what he said the other night. He's like, yeah, on most nights, Leon Draisaitl is the best player in the world. I don't think he's saying that just for, craps and gigs. I honestly think he believes that, and the record shows for it. It's really impressive. And all-time points per game leaders in the NHL history, you got 3 Oilers at the top of that list. So kind of a luxury. It's actually just, man, Oilers fans are really, really lucky in that sense, but it's crazy. You got Wayne Gretzky, 1.83. He leads the pack. That leads, everyone, 1.83 points per game. You got Leon Draisaitl, 1.66, and then third is Connor McDavid at 1.64. So it really is just insane, and that's kind of why I don't mind the nuclear option, which they're doing again tonight. You look at it, 8 points combined line for the two of them in the last game, which is just crazy. And the points that they've been able to put together so far in this year's playoffs in 7 games, albeit those two players put up more points than the whole Toronto Maple Leafs roster in their 7 games. And that's the whole roster. And we're talking about just Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. So it's impressive. And there not a lot of players can bring it. You see that Austin Matthews, David Pastrnak, he's starting to find his game a little bit. But Elias Pettersson, who's one of the best players, most talented players I'd like to think in the NHL. It's not easy to translate your skill into the playoffs, but the fact that Leon Draisaitl has been able to do it effortlessly, and Connor McDavid as well, it's just it's impressive. It really is. So with that being said, let's go into the locker room one more time, guys. And when we come back, shoot me a text 780-218-9999, and also we'll look at the nasty chat and as well as go through this poll. We got 61 votes so far. So with that being said, last time going into, let's hear from the other side. He was the captain for the Vancouver Canucks. This is Quinn Hughes.
Among you guys, just about playing with the lead and sort of maybe buckling down a little bit with the lead and that kind of thing.
I mean, I don't think anyone's talking about buckling down with the lead. I mean, they have some really good players and they're going to make plays, and that's what happened. And then as far as tonight, we're just worried about having a really good first period, having a good first shift, and playing the way we want to play, and then trying to do that for the full game.
When you guys went 3-0 in Nashville, I mean, new series, I know, but just being out on the road, confidence that this group has, it's just business trip?
Yeah, I think so. I think everyone's excited to play, and obviously 2 crucial games. Only got to worry about tonight, but we'll go from there.
You possessed the puck a little bit more in this one than game 2.
Just maybe play, be a little bit more confident, hold on to some pucks, and skate a little bit more, and some of the things that we've talked about, and we'll try to execute that.
Quinn, what's been your key to road success so far in the playoffs? You guys are 3-0 on the road. What's been the key to that?
I think we're just, even at home, we've been playing pretty good hockey, and I think we're just fortunate to win 3 games there. We're not doing anything differently on the road than we're doing at home.
This is a building you've played in a lot before. Expect it to be a little louder tonight?
I'm sure the fans will be ready to go, and I'm not too concerned about that.
I know some of the other guys have said that it's that you kind of embrace that villain role and like being booed. How about you?
I'm just here to play hockey, that's it.
As far as puck possession is concerned, obviously they've been trying to hit you a lot. Rick talked yesterday about maybe trying to get the puck a little bit later, maybe play a give-and-go game so you can get it on your stick later before you start carrying it. Do you see that as a potential solution at times?
Yeah, I mean, looking at, obviously, throughout the series, I want to continue to elevate my game and try to make an impact, and I'm going to try to do that.
How much more physical has it been for you the last, not just these 2 games, but even late in the National Series?
I mean, it's that time of the year, and yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that.
When people talk about how small a fraternity the hockey world is, how much influence did somebody like Paul Coffey or Connor Brown's dad have on you when you were a kid?
Yeah, I didn't play with, Paul had the team older than me, had a son older than me, and only played with him for a couple games, but really enjoyed that, and I think that obviously Dan Brown I had for 3 or 4 years, and he's a great man, and Connor's been a really good player in the league, and I was lucky enough to have people like that growing up.
Awesome. That is Quinn Hughes, captain of the Vancouver Canucks. A lot of comments I seen in the nasty chat. People saying he's got, he's pretty cut up. He's pretty banged up. He did take a pretty serious high stick to the face by Connor McDavid in Game 2. Very surprised that was missed. A lot of people, fans speculating that the reffing is rigged and all this. It's not. There was missed calls on both sides. That's one thing I'm definitely going to be paying attention to tonight. It's either going to be they're calling everything or they're going to be not calling anything. That's all I have to say on that, I guess. But quickly, let's take a look at the text line. You can text us anytime, 780-218-9999. Oh boy, do I love saying that. I'm not going to lie. It's actually kind of fun. Okay, we got one from no name. Oh, yeah, actually, there is a name. This text is for you, Trev. Swell job, T. Willison. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the words. We got a text from Lee. He says, I feel like Nurse does something to get suspended, as is tradition. I certainly hope not. I don't know. It was. I really like what what Belzy had to say. He's a tremendous skater, and you never see him use that speed and that his skating. Like he can skate just as good as any defenseman in the NHL. And the thing that separates him from most is his size, and it's you never see it. It really is. So that's one thing. I do agree with Belzy. Here's hoping. I don't think he's going to be silly, but sometimes you have seen the Pettersson hit. There was kind of accidental, but that could have been called for boarding. That was a missed call for sure. We got a text from Jonesy saying, let's effing go. Okay, interesting. Can I say? Well, I did anyway. Okay, we got another text. Hey, YTT, what time is puck drop? I got to walk the dog before the game. Well, it's supposed to be right now, 7:30, but as we know, as is tradition, it's probably going to be 7:40, 7:42 when the puck is actually dropped because one thing that is nice about an all-Canadian matchup in the playoffs is one national anthem, O Canada. So that's always nice. Let's see what we got in the Nasty Chat. Nasty Chat's buzzing. A lot of support tonight. I really appreciate it, guys. I will say I have so much fun doing this, and it's all because of you guys. You guys are absolute beauty. So this is sick. To finish off, let's just look at the poll that I posted 14 minutes ago. It's got 77 votes, and it says, do you like the nuclear option with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl on the same line? To finish this said poll, 70% of you say yes, and 30% of you say no. I'm actually surprised by that. I thought it was going to be a lot more split, but to finish things off, we've got Box Pounder saying, damn fine show. And I mean that. Later, Nasties. Yeah, Box Pounder, you're an absolute beauty. I really appreciate it. He's always saying damn fine show, and we love that. We love that. We really do. So just looking at the TV, guys, it's about that time. So let's see what I can do here. I will cue the music. Guys, this was a lot of fun. I really, really appreciated this. I started slow, and I was a little bit hurting. We had a lot of fun yesterday, but the fun looks to continue tonight as the Oilers look to make... Well, it is a series. They look to take a lead on this series. It's the Edmonton Oilers, Vancouver Canucks here in Edmonton, Rogers Place. Time will tell. I'm expecting a good game. Lots of physicality. That's kind of what I want. I think that's only going to amp up as the series goes along here. So, from Tom Gazzola, Matt Kassian, Sean Bell, and I am YouTube Trev. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We really appreciate the support. YTT, what's your score prediction from Zach tonight? Let's go with 5-4 Oilers win. That's all for me. Take her easy, guys. We will see you in the post-game show. Thanks for everything. Peace.